Good morning and let's welcome from the therapy room, Dr. Geraldine Tan. Good morning, Jerry.
Good morning, and I miss all of you. It felt so long.
We miss you more.
Did you have a good Chinese New Year?
It was a quiet Chinese New Year.
I think it was quiet for a lot of people.
I think so as well.
I'm not used to it. No, it's quiet this, quiet that.
Yeah.
You know, I really felt it this year. 5 people.
We've been quiet for
five.
so long.
5
huh?
people. Last year was 8, right?
Yeah.
It was.
Remember we
yes.
had a little
We
gathering.
came over to yours. Yeah. We
Yeah,
went
but
over
this
to yours.
year sucked actually.
Oh dear. Well,
It was
if you had a good Chinese New Year, good on you. No
Next
one else seemed to.
next year, no limits. How about that?
That's the plan, right? We're working towards that.
Can we start with Christmas first?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
there you go. And hurry and everything else. Anyway, Dr. Jerry, good morning.
Good morning. Yes, and we are back on Therapy Tuesdays.
That's right. And today we're talking about growing with my child. What's that all about?
Yes. Yeah, so I was thinking we were focusing a lot on the children's mental health, but I wanted to focus a little bit on the parents' mental health, given how the parents are also very stressed. We've always been saying that, right? The parents take the exams, they are worried about this and that. So growing with my child today.
My children grew up. I didn't.
Yes, we know that.
Can I just ask you this? I mean the mentality, of people who have kids in the first place. Why do they have kids?
Exactly.
I mean, if kids are going to be so stressful, right, and expensive, because it's true. Just think about it. For most of you, if you didn't have kids, you'd probably be millionaires today. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I'm just saying.
It's relative, yeah.
I'm just putting it out there, right? I'm just
seems
putting it
that way.
But why do people have kids? I mean, eventually they might throw you in an old folks' home, right? So,
Dr. Jerry,
I'm joking.
you're the expert here. Can you answer
Why?
Glenn's question, please?
Why? Are they really such a good investment?
I would love to hear what Jerry has to say.
Yeah.
Actually, I will throw it back to Glenn for asking that question. Then why would you have a fur baby? They
Oh,
take
that's
a lot
different.
of
Why?
time.
No, it's
No.
not
They
really.
take a lot of finances. They don't
same.
give you back anything at the end of the day. Why would you be a fur parent? It's
Glenn?
the same concept.
They're not as expensive, I can tell
Okay,
you
no,
that.
no, but
No,
why
but
did you
why?
become a
Why?
fur parent?
Why?
Well, it seems like fun,
Okay, it seems like fun.
Yeah.
You can always put them in the kennel if they're
but
not.
but
right.
they're not with you like forever. You know what I mean?
Short term.
Yeah, it's a short-term thing.
Okay,
Right.
But that's not why you get a pet,
No, but
because
that's-
they're not with you forever. It's like
Emotional health.
It's different. It's easier. It's easier to what do you call maintain a pet than a child, because I can just board them.
you can,
And they don't talk.
you can board
And they don't
children
talk.
as well.
They
you
don't
know?
talk back.
You can
No,
board children
but-
as well.
but-
Throw them
but
into boarding school.
They don't talk
But
back.
a
Expensive, that
pet
one.
is not there that, when I get fed up with you, I board you.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
That's
okay,
not
okay,
how you treat
okay.
pets.
Not the best comparison. But back to my question: why do you think people have kids?
He can't answer that, Jerry.
Because I
realize
guarantee you,
that-
parents at some point or other regret having kids.
No.
I'm
But
sure
they
the
will
answer,
just
yeah.
they won't say it though. But
Sound
but
loud.
deep down
Yeah.
inside they regret it.
No, I don't think you ever
you're
regret
wrong.
No, you can't lah. I mean, you already got your kids. How do you regret?
All
But deep down
parents
inside,
are
you
wrong.
know.
Okay, Dr. Jerry.
Glenn's not wrong. Some parents do regret because they don't want or something happens. But I think it's a very, very difficult question to answer. Why do we have, or why do we procreate? I don't know. I don't know the answer for that, but I do know the type of love that we feel to our children, and the love that they give back, is so different from any other love that we have given or received. And it's the closest thing that I think I can say is agape love. Unconditional love.
Yeah, unconditional.
So for those that have experienced that, I think this is what, we feel.
Okay.
Dr. Jerry, talking about children and all that, I just have to mention this. I don't know if it was last week while I was on leave, but one of the days, about a week or two ago, I actually had a dream about you.
Oh.
And it was very weird. Like, speaking of children, I had a dream that she revealed on our show that she was pregnant again. I promise you. And you chose to reveal it on Therapy Tuesdays. I'm just telling you the truth. I told you what I dreamt.
And here she is for a big announcement.
Yeah,
Wait. So Jerry, what does that mean?
Let's look into the tea leaves.
You should be asking Angel what does it mean, because it was her dream, not Jerry's dream.
Yeah, but it was about Dr. Jerry revealing that she was pregnant. It was just like this scenario, you know. She was sitting there, I could see her, and she's like, "Guys, I have something to tell you. I'm pregnant again," and we're like, "Yay!"
What a beautiful dream, but it's sad to burst your bubble. No.
Oh, that's okay. That's
Two is
fair.
enough.
That's
Two
all
is
right.
enough, right?
Factory close here.
Factory close. All right, so let's go on to the Big Show TV and speak more about growing with my child. And today we're looking into the mental health of parents instead of the kids.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, while we play a song right now, Jerry, we'll talk about this on the Big Show TV. Here are the cause with So Young on 1FM 91.3.
Page Aloysius Lee says, for the pet, you don't need to teach them to do homework. One reason.
But
one
you
reason.
teach them tricks.
No, but I think at the end of the day, like for me, when I wanted to have kids, it was natural. It was a natural thing. It was a
It's
way.
not a conscious decision to say, I'm going to have children.
Because my kids were never planned.
So all
you go.
accidents,
And that's something we agreed on. And it was.
Why didn't you wear a condom?
No, it was.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah,
But having children.
Because you say it wasn't planned.
They didn't have
Having-
the vegan edible condoms back then.
having children was the ultimate expression of love
Okay.
the way you were
between
brought
two
up,
people.
Between
yeah.
two people.
That was me. It was the ultimate expression of love. There could be no greater expression of love.
Dr. Jerry, do you think someone's upbringing decides on whether they have children?
More commonly, not. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes
yeah.
and no. Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah. So, your own childhood informs you whether it is worth the effort of bringing a child into the world, how much love, how much attachment that you have, and the experiences afterwards. Yeah.
I think usually if people have like a very happy childhood, surrounded by brothers and sisters
lots
and
of
all that,
children, yeah.
they would have like maternal and paternal instincts when they grew up.
Yeah.
They would want like a big family for themselves to
The same traditions and all that
exactly,
to carry on.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't have that growing up, then you're very like sad and alone all the time. And you
Exactly.
don't want to bring kids into
Like
the
you,
world
lah,
as well.
Sean, right?
Exactly. That's exactly.
Me
Why?
too. I can't say that. I mean, I enjoyed my childhood, but in terms of like the family part of it, right? I didn't feel like it was.
You
was
weren't
anything
surrounded
much.
by a lot of people.
Yeah.
You may be right, because we were very close growing up. The parents, the kids, we were very involved
Yeah.
as units, and I think maybe that's what led me to have kids.
Or it could just have been Michelle going like, I want kids, right?
Could have just been all
Because-
the unplanning
hey,
that you
both
did.
like, it takes time to settle down.
Because
No, it wasn't.
I have friends who didn't want to have kids, but because
wife
their
wants.
wives insisted, okay lah.
Yeah,
Did Michelle grow
No
up
choice.
in a great
Family.
upbringing, family situation?
Probably not as tight as mine, but I think for us it was the expression of love. It was, we wanted to have the family unit because we love kids anyway. We loved growing up. I remember as a teenager, I always loved playing with kids. So I think that was part of it.
Yeah, I love playing with kids too, just not my own.
Just you want to be able to give them away when they start crying.
rent
yeah?
them.
Rent them.
I love disciplining
Sad,
kids though.
Sorry?
What's that?
No, I just find it very sad though, because the current generation, the environment is so not conducive for having children. They worry about the finance. Finance is a huge factor.
Yeah.
The world that it's turning into, very cold, they don't feel the warmth anymore. And they wonder, why would they want to bring a child into this cold and heartless world, quoting someone a verbatim. So the environment suddenly just becomes very toxic.
Yeah.
bring out in according to these people who don't want children.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think it's right or wrong these days to not have kids,
Yeah.
right?
No.
I think if anything, I mean, it's more for the economy.
Well,
Yeah, and I think there
You know
are
what I mean?
options like adopting as well for people who don't want to bring extra humans into the world because, and if you still want to have kids, you can always adopt if you're open for that.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Yeah, adopt, don't shop.
Adopting.
You don't get
Adopt
adopting children? Really?
Yeah.
no, I do.
I do.
Some people
Sorta.
cannot give birth, so that's
Yes,
why
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, those as
they
well.
want,
Yeah.
They want,
They
to have
want the kids, but they
kids.
can't have them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess
And
I can't.
surrogacy is not allowed in Singapore. Did you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's not
I
allowed.
guess I just don't I can't understand the whole okay, I mean, if I can't have my own kids, why would I want to
Can't have for medical reasons?
Yeah.
Well, because you still want to have children, you still want to have that family environment, and there are already kids
Yeah.
out there who don't have homes or who need homes, and you want that whole unit. So you
Yeah.
don't want to put extra people on the planet as well because we are
Resources.
overpopulated. So you adopt children as well.
At the end of the day, my take on it is you need to have children to understand what it brings into your
Yes,
life.
absolutely.
We can't sit here and explain it to you.
Yeah, yeah.
It's impossible.
No, that
It's
is true.
impossible.
That is true.
Is it am I digressing too much or what?
No, it's okay.
No,
Let's
it's
go.
okay.
No.
It's fine.
We got
Don't
40
worry.
minutes.
Because do people have kids also because they feel like they need people to take care of them in their older years.
That's a terrible reason to have children.
No,
I know,
For
but I'm
me,
just I'm just
yeah.
bringing
Well,
it
it's
up.
very
right?
practical also.
It's
But there are people who think like that.
They are.
Are they, Jerry?
So in the old, if we look at sociology and we look at the past, yes, that is one of the reasons that has been raised up by the farmers or those in the urban areas, and they have many children. So they have many children. One, because infant mortality was very, very high. So they needed to have more children to ensure that some of them survived.
Wow. Okay.
You're very far away from other human resources. So your only human resource is your family. So you want to have as many people as possible around you to look after each other. So those are some of the reasons that have been raised up by the people of the past.
So this is how it all started in the urban areas. Sorry, in the rural areas.
Rural areas, sorry, I said it wrongly. Yes, the rural areas.
Rural areas.
Yeah,
Okay.
but not with us because we have resources. We are very independent. We look after our health, and healthcare wasn't the greatest in decades ago.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
It's very interesting. Okay, so let's go through what you were talking about, Jerry. You said today we
Yes.
needed to look at what we needed when we were children.
Yes, so
We have 30
I
seconds,
thought
then
I
we're back on
wanted
air.
to-
Oh, 30 seconds back on air.
Okay, we can-
let's,
then we
let's
can
do
do
that
it
on
straight
air.
on air.
We'll do that
It's-
on air then,
It's quite
yeah.
interesting.
I read one comment from Molly. Molly says, yes, our upbringing plays an important part in us wanting to have kids, and how many as well. I came from a very big family and it's very, very noisy, and I have one now because I want to make sure that I am financially stable and able to support their education.
Huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Big families, can support one another.
Big families tend to follow with more big
Yes.
families.
Yeah.
Okay, traffic standby.
Good morning and welcome to The Big Show and The Big Show TV. Our guest for this morning is from the therapy room, the one, the only, the beautiful Dr. Geraldine Tan.
I love the way you give the introduction.
And today we're talking about whether or not you should have kids.
Hey, no.
No, that's
no,
not
no,
a
no.
topic for today. We can't tell anyone that.
No.
Growing up with my child, and FD, you had something to say.
Yeah, one of the things you wanted to talk about, and it's a question that you wanted us to deal with,
Yep.
what we
Yep.
needed when we were children.
Exactly, because a lot of parents just launch into parenthood, read a lot of books, ask a lot of questions, but forget to reflect on their lives.
Yes.
So I wanted us to reflect on what we needed at different stages in our lives.
Oh,
And
okay.
that will give us some answers, I mean, so Molly had like a little bit of insight as to, she wanted a little bit of peace and quiet because she reflected on her life and she decided to have one kid after reflecting on her life. So as parents, sometimes we forget to reflect what we need as a child.
Actually, I've got to say, Jerry, I was exactly like that when I was a parent at first. And I would use the classic, in my day. Back in our day, until I can't remember which of my children it was who turned around and said, "Whoa, you got to stop this because your day does not relate to my day.
It's over already.
Your day, policemen wear shorts, no?
It doesn't relate anymore, no?
Yeah.
You need to take and literally they explained, you need to take your experience and mold it to fit into
Today.
what I'm going through.
It's different. It's a different time.
It's a different time.
Lots of parents do that.
It's a different time.
When I was younger.
Yeah.
I never used to do this.
Yeah. So you want us to tell you what we needed when we were... Wow.
Yes. So we can kind of divide it, right? Like primary school, perhaps at primary school, because a lot of parents struggle during that period of time. So primary school, secondary school, tertiary education in your 20s. So each of you can take one timeline.
So you're saying what we needed from our parents or in general?
Yes. So at that point in time, what you needed from your parents.
From your parents, right. Okay. Who wants to go?
In primary school, I needed support and patience
From
my parents
Okay.
because I was slow at grasping things. I was slow at grasping academics.
Okay.
And I needed that patience and I needed that support. And lucky for me, I actually got it.
From your parents?
From my parents. Academically, I got that patience and that support from them. And I think that was very important for me at primary school.
Yeah, I think I went through the same thing in primary and secondary school because I was terrible at like things like math and Mandarin when I was forced to take Chinese and stuff like that. But my parents completely got that, and they didn't push me to do well in those topics, and they would be like, if you're not going to go for the exam, it's fine because, they knew that there was no solution to this sort of problem that I had. And it wasn't a problem, obviously. I see that now. So, yeah, same as FD, I think the support was very important. I wasn't pushed too hard.
Glenn, what did you need from your parents?
I needed more attention from the both of them.
Wow.
Yeah, which I didn't get.
Wow.
Yeah, because I just felt like
attention, Glenn?
just like
Time?
time.
Emotional also.
I just felt like everything was, it wasn't quality attention. I needed quality attention.
They were always distracted.
They were distracted. They were not on the same page.
Different parenting rules.
Yes.
And tactics.
And my dad was always away on like business trips and stuff like that. I mean, we got everything. I mean, most of the stuff that I asked for, material things, but quality attention, no.
So do you see now that the material things were kind of trying to make up for the lack of emotional attention?
Perhaps. I mean, when I say material, I'm not saying like I'm from a rich family or anything like that. But whatever we needed, we got. You know what I mean? But what I actually feel like I really wanted, maybe even for my brother, both of us, was quality attention.
It would be interesting to see what your brother thought of this topic. What his perspective on your growing up was like.
Yeah.
Leave your comments down below.
Quality attention.
Quality attention. Quality time. And I think it's a lot harder now with quality time because we're so distracted, not just by life when Glenn was younger growing up, but by devices and everything else that's going on. So I'm just wondering if kids get so much less than before during our time.
Do they, Jerry?
For the children
Attention,
nowadays.
for the children nowadays.
Yes, it is more distracting. It's definitely tougher to get their attention, and especially with the devices, their attention span has decreased so much that it's so difficult to sustain their attention.
Okay, that's their attention, but what about the parents' attention for the children? Is it more difficult for the parent to give quality time to the child because there's so much happening around the parent now?
Okay, find out what Jerry is going to say exclusively on the Big Show TV. In the meantime, here's Maroon 5, What Lovers Do on 1FM 91.3.
So, Jerry, Glenn was talking about quality time with his parents, which he felt was lacking. In today's context, isn't that even more difficult with the problems with work-life balance, with devices that parents are always on? Are children suffering now more because of that?
It depends. It really depends. I was just reflecting when you asked the question earlier. Whilst that is true, and whilst that we keep blaming the devices, I think about how my dad uses the device now, and he's 78 this year. And he would show us videos that, his friends forwarded to him. He would take time and effort to share with us. And mom would go on Facebook and she would show your shows to my children.
That's so sweet.
She would showcase what she is watching or what she's involved in. So they do use the device as a method to connect with the younger generation. So it's not all lost. We always look upon it as a monster, but if we know how to use it as a tool, it can serve us very well.
Because I think all our parents, well, those of us who still have our parents around, we get all these messages from them on our phones, all these videos that have been forwarded many times and stuff like that. And sometimes I have to admit, I'm guilty of this as well. I look at them and I don't really look at them.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Because there's so
scams.
many that come in and stuff. Like,
Because-
no, not scams, like fun videos or whatever.
Sometimes it's not stuff I want to see. Because they're just blindly forwarding stuff, you see.
But
and then you open it, you get a shock, no?
But I get what Jerry is saying. This is their way to say that they are thinking of you by forwarding that message to you. It is their way of, instead of picking up the phone back in our day, calling us and this and that, this is a use of technology, right? Because if they didn't think of you, then you wouldn't be getting a message.
Yeah, that's true.
A moment of thought.
Yeah, and for some parents, they don't say anything. It's hard for them to say, I love you, or I miss you,
for
or,
sure, yeah.
when are you coming over and all that. But I have to say, when my dad was alive, he used to do that. So,
Okay.
And my mom does that as well. So I can't speak for my brother because he's not as expressive as I am. So he wouldn't go up to my mom and go like, I love you, mom. But I would do it. I mean, it's nothing to me.
Does she say I love you back?
Yes, she
Okay.
does. She does. So I'm glad we're like that right now.
And it's changed, right? It's become a little bit more emotional. Like, not emotional, like your show of emotions are more now than when you were younger.
Yes. And I think for anyone who's listening in right now, who wants to take that next step, with their parents and all that, you have to make the first move.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, so don't wait for your parents to make that first move. You make that first move. Go up to your mom, your dad, hug them, say I love you, and you'll be surprised. They'll start
saying
doing
it
that
back.
back.
Because my parents were never, I mean, they were huggy, they were feely, but it was never, I love you.
Oh, I got a lot of that.
Now I say it to them, and sometimes still a little bit uncomfortable, but at least they say it back.
But I think that's a very Asian thing too.
Possibly.
But I'm glad to say that I see a lot of younger people doing it though. Younger parents.
Younger parents
are going, I love you to their children.
Yeah.
And I think that is so. Parents, you cannot understand what that means to a child.
Yes. Yes.
So
Exactly.
important.
And I hope no one starts saying like, hey, wow, so easy for you to say I love you.
Yeah.
You know how some people, right? They go like, I mean, if it's easy for someone to say I love you, right? It's much better than never saying I love you.
That's true.
You know what I mean? So
Yes.
get comfortable with it. I believe you need to get comfortable with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But sometimes, girlfriend, boyfriends and all that, right? After a while, they'll just start going like, hey, what? So easy for you to say I love you.
But it also has to be at a point where you actually mean it.
Of course,
and
but-
not throwing it around.
But you know what I mean? What is more important?
Yeah,
Right? Because some
getting it or
people
not at all.
never ever say it.
Yes.
But it's so important to hear it, you see.
Yeah.
So to me, it doesn't matter whether you mean it or not. Right? Because it's you never know if the person really means it or not. What makes you the one to decide whether or not that person actually means I love you?
True.
Wow.
It doesn't look like. Yeah, go ahead.
I think we should put the other relationships aside. If we look at the parent-child relationship, and we were talking about, parents and their children, and parents love their children, an infinite amount, right? And they do love their children. It's not because they don't love their children, but articulating it has never been the culture in our
Asia,
Asian
yeah.
culture.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the parents do love their children, so they really do mean it when they say "I love you." Just that when it comes out, sometimes it comes out a little bit awkward.
Yeah.
Or after you scolded your children, it comes out a little bit awkward. Like, I still love you, but I have to scold you, or I have to, punish you. It just comes out really awkward, weird, but the thing is, we need to let the children know that we still love them no matter what.
Yeah.
And that's why it is important to let the children know that they are loved, but we need to correct their behavior, to put in those boundaries.
Right.
How important is it to actually say I love you than to show it? Because different people have different languages of love, right? Some people might shower you with gifts, and that's my way of showing that I love you. Some people may, do some other things, the different love languages and stuff like that. But how important is it actually to say those 3 words?
So the child sees certain things and hears certain things, and they're very concrete. So if you do something that is very overt, the child sees, the child knows. But we've taught the children to learn languages. So to hear is also very important. So the 5 languages of love that we are always talking about, we only learn it later on in life. And that's why adult children goes, oh, this is why my parent does this, or this is why somebody else does that. And it explains to them, but at a much later age. So you've lost a period of time where you've already told yourself in your brain that this person hates me, or doesn't care for me, or doesn't love me. So that's why as parents, then we take the effort to tell them, to let them know that we love them. And that's why it becomes important to bridge that period of time, even though we might use other methods to show our love.
Okay,
Stand
1
by.
second.
We're going back on air. FD1 traffic.
Good morning and welcome to The Big Show and The Big Show TV, Tuesday's edition. We have Dr. Geraldine Tan with us from the therapy room.
Good morning.
Morning. Okay.
What were we talking about?
Oh.
Wow.
I can read.
Did we lose our train of thoughts?
No,
Can I just bring something up? We're talking about saying I love you.
Okay,
right?
that's
Yes.
right.
Yes.
Yes.
So I just want to say that, I've always envisioned, right? I mean, if I had kids, right? And these young kids, let's say off to primary school or something like that, I think that would be nothing more endearing to me than to hear my kid go like, all right, love you, Dad. And then they'll just run off.
Yeah.
So it doesn't, I don't know. We're talking about whether or not the kids mean it when they say I love you or whatever, but nurturing them from that young age, right?
Yeah.
Even a young kid running off because they know it means something to me to say I love you or something like that.
Yeah.
I say I love you, and then he runs off and just goes like, love you, Dad. Doesn't necessarily mean, he means it,
No.
but it's so heartwarming.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
yes.
That habit
at least
alone.
that habit,
Okay.
yes.
And I feel like the only way to have that later on in life as well
Is to start young.
young.
Yeah.
It's very interesting because
know what I mean?
when I was being brought up, Jerry, you listen to this, I want your comments. Huh? I was taught, don't say I love you unless you mean it.
yeah.
Right.
And don't say sorry unless you mean
That screws everything up.
it. Okay?
That's
True.
So when I apologize for something, I really mean it. when I say I love you, even if I were to turn to Glenn right now and I say I love you, bro, I mean it.
Right.
It's not.
Yeah,
For the
love you
sake of
guys.
saying-
It's not.
Yeah,
It's not like
yeah.
I like you a lot, so I'm saying I love you.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you see where the trouble comes in, right? Because then if you don't say it, then I'll be wondering,
Does
love
he
or don't
really
love?
love
Wrong.
me?
you know what I mean? So I get the whole, okay, don't say
Unless you mean
don't say
it.
sorry unless you mean it. Don't say I love you unless you really mean
mean
it.
it.
There'll be more times, I guarantee you, in your life where you don't feel love
Jerry,
for someone,
what do you think?
and you end up not saying it at
Well,
all.
I think there are two things that block us from saying it: pride and thinking that we're on top of another person.
On top of
Yeah,
another
Explain the
person.
second one.
On inequality of that position. So putting your authority before anything else. So that blocks you from saying I'm sorry. And that was the notion of many traditional parents, because they think that I'm the parent, I'm on top, or even bosses, because they find that it is beneath them to apologize, although they are genuinely very apologetic and sorry for what they've done, or that they love them. Cannot. I will scold you if I say I love you,
Right.
or my pride doesn't permit that. So sometimes, I do catch myself, and I was smiling so much because just this morning when I dropped my kids, and my little boy, he's not little, he's bigger than me, and I dropped him off and I say bye, I love you, and he turned and went, love you, and he waved.
Right.
And my little girl, she is she doesn't talk in the morning, grumpy like anything. The effort to turn around, give a wave, and that before she closes the door. And I know she received my I love yous.
And that's her way of saying I love you back, right?
Right.
By that, with that wave
Yes.
and that look.
And let me just tell all of you, the power is in the tongue. The more you say it, the more
Yeah.
more that love is going to grow.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes,
I have a
absolutely.
bunch of friends, who we text each other, we meet each other, and we always end off by going, "Love you, bro."
Yeah.
And once again, one can say, "Oh, do they really mean it? Do you guys really mean it?" But the power is in the tongue. Really, keep on saying it.
Yeah.
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 You
It'll come
surround
true.
yourself with
Yeah,
it, more
exactly.
of it will come. Yeah.
So say it. Don't be shy. Say
Yeah.
it.
Then that's putting the pride away and then saying it, right, Jerry?
Yep. So we would want to just let go of our arrogance, our pride, our roles, and just bring ourselves down as equals. I think FD consistently reminds us we need to be a friend to our children.
Yeah.
But what does that mean? We need to put our prides aside. We need to put that air of authority aside,
Yeah.
and say I love you or say I'm sorry.
When it comes to the saying I'm sorry from a parent to a child, what do you say to parents who feel that they may lose the control if they do that?
So the three blockers, let's just look quickly at the three blockers for parents, right? For their own mental health, because if they cannot put it down, it tells us that, or they think that they're going to lose control. Possibly it's these three blockers. One, unresolved issues of their past. Their own issues of their own conflict, what they've observed, the relationship with their parents, their experiences, even all sorts of abuse, their own past yearnings and ambitions that they were not able to accomplish. So this creates that trophy child sometimes, or the child that cannot achieve what the parent wants.
Trying to live your life through the child.
Yes, they do. These parents sometimes do that. And the third one are the current expectations of society, of the environment. Oh, my friend's child went to this particular school. You also have to try and not try, you have to get into that school. So these three become blockers, and then the parent would find it very difficult to articulate what they're really feeling at that time, because they are lost in all these three blockers.
Right. Okay. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today, Jerry. I think maybe we can, we can talk about this a little bit more next week as well, and then go into another topic if you have something else
definitely
that we
very
should touch on.
interesting,
Because there are a few other things that I want to bring up as well. So maybe I can bring it up next week, to start the ball rolling once
for
again.
sure.
Thank you so much, Jerry. As always, you have last words.
Yes, I do. And this is by C.S. Lewis. Love is something more stern and splendid than mere kindness.
Oh,
So
love
something
that.
for us to chew on.
So nice. Thank you very much, Jerry, for joining us once again.
No worries. See you next week.
Have a wonderful week ahead. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.